A very good morning to everyone. Welcome to Global Online. As you all are aware that we have already started our preparation for paper 1, that is June 2023 batch. We have already completed first unit, that is teaching aptitude, and we have started with our second unit, that is research aptitude. In this unit we have completed 5 lectures. All the lecture links is available in the description box. You can check it once. Today's lecture is on the topic variables and its types. Before going ahead, a quick announcement for all of you for paper 1. As you all know that paper 1 has a very less time for the upcoming cycle, that is for June 2023 examination. So in order to prepare yourself best with a lesser amount of time, we have brought this crash course, and the highlights of this crash course are daily live lectures in Hindi and English, full syllabus notes in PDF format, 60 plus mock test, as well as 2000 plus MCQs in the practice question format, which will help you to prepare yourself best for June 2023 examination. This all is available at a fee cost of rupees 4,000, but right now we are keeping a 40% off. So you will be getting this at a fee cost of rupees 2,400. So yes, understanding the product, now let's move towards our concept for the day, that is variables and its types. So first we have as independent variable. Now independent variable is that variable where is, which talks about, the effects of which is manipulated to measure, which is manipulated to measure the effects of an outcome of a variable. So here this manipulation and control is done by the researcher. Basically, this manipulation and control are purposely done by the researcher to see the change, what exactly has impacted. So it is the variables which causes the effect are called as or are seen on the dependent variable. Independent variable is also abbreviated as IV, and they are also called as the predictor or explanatory variable. They are known as what? They are known as the predictor or explanatory variable. Example, if you take, there are a lot of examples. We'll be going by one example right now. The amount of sugar, either the sugar, loose sugar, or the cubes which you add to the cup of an orange juice will, which can be manipulated by the researcher depending upon the flavor or the taste of sweetness needed by the person. Going on, next is we have dependent variable. Now dependent variable is that variable which represents the experiment's outcome, that is, the results. Where we can see the results, we can see the outcome. The variable is measured in order to see the effect of independent variable. A dependent variable is, is being measured. It is the variable in which the researcher is studying and has been measured is called as dependent variable, where we can see the change which is affected by the change. Okay. And this change is brought by whom? The change is brought by the independent variable. So the independent variable is creating a is resulting or to bringing a change, and the effect we can see on dependent variable. Dependent variable also called as criterion or outcome variable. Just remember these sentences. These are very important terms. You can definitely get, any type of question resulted to this also. Which variable is called as what? So our independent variable is called as predictor or explanatory variable. Our dependent variable is called as criterion or outcome variable. The dependent variable example is any measurement of human health or his growth is you can take as one of the example of dependent variable. Now coming next is mediating variable. Now mediating variable is a theoretical variable which is used by a researcher or a research scholar just to explain the relationship between, the factors, between the dependent and the independent variable factors. So mediating variables are those which exist between the independent and the dependent variable, and they could potentially affect the relationship between them. So this it's not only resulting into the relationship, but also can affect, the relationship. So it is the variable that comes between mediator, no mediating. So it comes between the dependent and independent variable. Secondly, it explains the relationship between what? It explains the relationship between your dependent and your independent variable. Okay. So this is how, this is how it So it explains the relationship between, it not only tells that, it is a variable that comes between dependent and independent variable. At the same time, it explains the relationship between independent and dependent variable. It is also called as C. It is also known as intervening variable. Now, these terms, as I said, you have to be very careful. We studied independent variable, which is called as a predictor or exploratory variable. We studied dependent variable, which is called as what? Which is called as your criterion variable, as well as it is also known as what? Your outcome variable. And then we studied your mediating variable, which is also called as intervening variable. Okay. Now let us take an example of mediating variable. For example, if the income is independent variable, okay, and the longevity, now longevity is considered as the dependent variable. So depending upon your income, okay, your longevity, is an effect. So researcher would postulate the access to the quality healthcare is one of the mediating. So yes, the access to the quality healthcare is nothing but, it is one of the mediating variable which comes between independent and dependent variable. Okay. Next we have is moderating variable. Now what is this moderating variable? It is also called as a moderator variable. Okay. Moderator, the one which modifies the link between the dependent and independent factors by strengthening or diminishing the effect of mediating variables. So basically, moderator variable is also called as moderating variable is called as moderator variable, which modifies, okay, which modifies, changes. Modification is nothing but changes between independent and dependent variable by either by two impact. It can strengthen or it can diminish the effect of mediating variable. So mediating variable which is an intervening variable, no, the effect can be diminished or the effect can be strengthened because of moderator variable. So moderating variables are those variables that change the relationship between independent and dependent variable. So it is the variable that affects the relationship between both of them. And this variable, as I said, either it can weaken or it can strengthen the relationship between independent and dependent variable. That depends upon its impact. Example, if you want to take off moderating variable, yes. When social media use can predict isolation, this association may be higher in teens than in older person. Age is a moderator over here. See, age factor is working as what? A moderator, a one which is modifying, because we are taking two groups, teens and older person. So yes, for teens, the age group differs. For older person, the age group differs. So here it is something which is called as what? Age is a moderator. Okay. Then we have control variables. Now, control variables are those variables that remain constant, okay, throughout the experiment. Control variables are called as what? Control variables are called as the constant variable which remains constant throughout the experiment. Okay, through what till the time the experiment gets conducted, control variables remains throughout constant. Variables are held constant in order to isolate the effect of a given independent variable. So variable strongly varies or influences the values. It is held constant, to test the impact of independent variables. It is also called as a constant variable. So this is the another term which you have to remember. Now, example of control variables. Uh, yeah. Now this is one of the example which we'll be considering. So let's see what this. So let us see one of the example of these control variables. So the temperature, the light in the room, light in the room or the light for the plants and the volume of the water given to each plant. This all, can be a part of what? Your either constant variable, call them as constant, or you can call them as your control variables. Okay. Next we have is continuous variables. Now what are this continuous variable? These continuous variable is a variable that can take on any value within a certain range. It is, it is often measured in the things in the form of opinions or in the form of behavior. So we can see them in the form of opinions or behavior. Continuous variables are important because they allow researchers to get more detailed information about a specific population. They are useful for measuring the change over time. Okay, so whatever changes are seen, they're useful in measuring those change over time. So now, example of continuous variable. If a researcher wants to know how people feel about a new product, okay, then they can use a continuous variable to measure how people feels about the new product on a scale of 1 to 10. So it will help to get them a continuous amount of response with the help of such variable. If the researcher wants to know whether people opinion about a product can be changing, then they can use a continuous variable to measure how the opinion changes from 1 month to another. So in both the cases, you can see that there can be a measure of continuity with respect to the product's opinion or with respect to its behavior, to the customer's behavior. Then we have extraneous variable. Now let's see what is this extraneous variable. Extraneous variables are the variables that affects the dependent variable but are not originally considered by the researchers. So this gets created. It's not originally extraneous. See, it's something extra. So it's not originally added by the researcher, but it's get created while designing the experiment. These unexpected variables can alter the outcome of the study or how a researcher perceive the results. So an extraneous variable is a variable that is not related to the main independent or a dependent variable. This can be a problem because it can skew the results, okay, making it difficult to interpret. So sometimes it is, sometimes it can put into a fix in order to get the results, in order to know the results. So there are ways to control extraneous variable. However, by using experimental design or the statistical methods, though it is that can create a problem, but yes, there are methods in order to use them with the help of what, by using experimental design or methods. So example, let us take one example. A study can be conducted to determine if private tutoring or online courses are more helpful at improving students Spanish test score. So if you want to check the test score of Spanish of the student, this can you can determine whether private tutoring can help. But apart from private tutoring, parental support, prior understanding of the foreign knowledge, socioeconomic background, these all can work as what? These all can work as the extraneous variables, which will have an impact. But yes, in order to check them, or in order to understand them, we can have a experimental design or statistical method. Now we have as last is confounding variable. So now what is this confounding variable? A variable in your experiment that concerns true influences of another variable, which occurs, whether this is an occurrence where another variable is strongly related to a variable, but it is not controlled in your experiment. Like for example, a confounding variable is an extraneous variable in a statistical model, okay, that correlates both dependent and independent variable. This confounds the interpretation of a result. It is not, it is not possible to tell whether these variables are causing the relationship or not. But the common way to control confounding variable is to include them in the model as covariance. Covariance. So confounding variables are a problem in observation studies, but then they can lead to bias estimates in order to come out with an association or outcome. Okay. So it is important that we are aware of these confounding variables when interpreting the results from observational studies. So example of confounding variables, suppose there is an association between smoking and lung cancer. If age is a confounder, that means the older people are more likely to get lung cancer, but they are more likely to smoke. Okay. And then we have, therefore, the true association between smoking and lung cancer may be underestimated if age is not taken into account. So this can get into consideration. Okay. Now, let us take a second example. Pot size and soil type, for example, may affect the plant's longevity. So these potential confounders can be controlled in an experiment by holding them a constant. Okay, so you should know that this is really very important to understand. Now the question comes, we will be taking questions also. First I'll be explaining you in a form of revision one more time, because in one go immediately the things may not go. So we will be doing it one more time as a revision, and that time I'll be definitely taking some questions on variables also. Okay. Okay. Yes. So in case any student who wants to get a notes with respect to paper 2, we also have study material as well as we have notes, MCQ notes, that is available with us for the following subjects. You can get in touch with us on the given WhatsApp number. The fees is rupees 1600, but right now we have a 20% off, so it is 1280. You can get a copy of this after getting in touch with us. That's all for the day. See you tomorrow with a new topic for research. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day ahead.